Welcome back. So let's continue our conversation with national security. Kaduna in focus. Let's bring in our guest. Edward Alter is a public affairs analyst joining us virtually. Mr. Alter, thank you for coming on the program.
Thank you for having me and good morning.
So let's begin with a bit of controversy around what was responsible for success. Under the last administration of Nasser El-Rufai, we know what played out in southern Kaduna especially. It was deaths every other day or attacks every other day, which is one of the black spots of his administration, as a lot of people will look at, given the number of attacks and killings that happened during his time. But under Senator Sani, we're seeing now that has scaled down drastically, where we literally don't hear of much attacks or no attacks, maybe in some weeks in that sense, depending on what report you're looking at. Now, the argument is to the effect that Nasser El-Rufai said for him, he doesn't believe in paying or negotiating or even having a conversation with bandits. For them, it's force take them out because they're enemies of the state. He's alluding to the fact that the present government does some form of negotiation, even making payments, if I heard him correctly, to be able to appease, let me use that word loosely, these bandits. What do you make of this conflicting position vis-a-vis the peace being experienced?
What I would say is that the realities in Kaduna State under the previous administration are exactly as you highlighted. Our villages became rivers of blood under the previous administration. Our highways became kidnappers. Then people could not travel from Kaduna to Abuja despite its proximity to the nation's capital. But today, under the present administration, a lot of progress is being made. And it is very laughable looking at Malam Nasser El-Rufai's allegations or accusations, because everyone knows right on this television station, on channels, I think he had that interview with some of you where he publicly confessed to paying bandits to stop attacking the people of southern Kaduna. So if at all there is any administration that has publicly owned up to paying bandits in the history of Kaduna State, it is the administration of Malam Nasser El-Rufai himself. Under the present administration, yes, we're experiencing some relative peace, even though we can see that there have been pockets of attacks here and there from time to time. But even the greatest critic of this administration must accept that our highways are now safer, our communities are also safer, farmers have returned to their farms in the last 2 years, we have seen increased productivity, we have seen food security enhanced and all that under the present administration. And the Kaduna peace model, as the present administration will call it, is one that has been anchored on collaboration. Collaboration with community and religious leaders, collaboration with federal security forces. It has also been anchored on improved intelligence gathering. And then most importantly, addressing the root causes of criminality and banditry and terrorism, which has to do with access to education, access to healthcare, access to social infrastructure, and also addressing the inequality that has predated this administration in terms of inclusion in governance and development trajectory of the state. So we have to give it to the Sani administration. Today, so many communities that had issues with access to education, that issue is being addressed. Over 1,700 schools have either been built or renovated.
Right. I'm not sure if it's the connection or you have stopped talking, but let me just come in here and add some more context to what you're saying. Right, because yes, you painted a picture. All right. If you can hear me, confirm that the connection is good now. Okay, Mr. Delta, I will try to reconnect with you. I just want to paint a broader picture for you, more context. Just late October, there was an attack on a church, United Church of Christ, where a priest was killed and others were also attacked. I hope you can hear me now, Mr. Alta. Mr. Alta, can you hear me? Please confirm. All right, I will reconnect with him. But it's important to also paint a picture of some of the other events we have seen so we can have a holistic conversation. So late October, yes, there was that attack in the United Church of Christ in Nigeria, also known as Hekan, where armed bandits on the Farin Dutse community in Kara local government area of the state attacked. We understand that one of his priests killed and over 20 of the church members were abducted in that attack. And we've also seen priests who died in captivity just about a week ago. The news broke. So we have these attacks coming up in Kaduna State, particularly, Mr. Auta. So what would you say is the cause of these attacks, in spite of what you said the government has done? You call it the Kaduna model. Mr. Auta, please go ahead if you got my question.
Yes, I got your question. Peace is not necessarily the absence of war or the absence of security breaches. What we are saying is that if you look at the number of incidences of security breaches that we have witnessed under the previous administration, and then what they did to this administration. In the past, almost on a daily basis, villages are being attacked, people are being abducted, farmers are unable to go to farm, and all that. But that is not the case today. Even though, yes, we have all these small incidences happening here and there, you have to admit, even if you hate this government, you have to admit that a lot is being done. And like I said, if you look at the Kaduna peace model, it is a model that will take a little bit of time for us to fully enjoy the benefits. Because if you look at what I was trying to say, that most of these bandits succeed because they are able to get willing people, young people, between teenagers, between the ages of 14 and 19, who are carrying these arms for them, who are doing this kidnapping for them, who are unleashing all this mayhem for them. And then if you also look at the menace of informants, you find out that most of the people that are giving these bandits information and working with them are young people, jobless people, illiterate, uneducated people who live among us. They are the willing tools that these bandits and criminals are using. And Governor Sani has focused on addressing some of these issues. And I also talked about the issue of inequality and issue of inequity in what we call lack of inclusion in governance, which the administration of Governor Sani is also addressing at the moment. It will interest you to know that in Kaduna State, in the last 10 to 12 years, there are so many local governments that have not seen even a single state or federal government project. So even in terms of response time, when these bandits are attacking communities, most of the communities are inaccessible. Today, under Governor Obasani, Kaduna State has become a construction site. Rural communities have seen roads being constructed in Jaba, in Kagarko, in parts of Zango, and most parts of southern Kaduna where these security breaches are prevalent. In the last 12 years, they were neglected almost completely. But under Obasani, that is not the case. Everybody knows the role that the governor played in the establishment of the Federal University of Applied Sciences in Kachia, the establishment of the Federal Medical Center in Kafanchan, and even lately, the appointment of the.
I understand some of those points you're making, but if I get you correctly, you attribute the successes to the state government, but the failures, you blame it on the federal government's lack of presence or infrastructure in those communities. Is that what you're saying?
I didn't get the question, please.
So you sort of attribute what you describe as the successes, the reduction in number of attacks. As I said, we've had attacks. In fact, in November as well, there's been an attack in Gidanwaya village, Lere local government area, and others. But what you're trying to say is the successes is as a result of the Kaduna security model. But the failures or the failings, these attacks we're seeing, you're saying it's because the federal government does not have presence in this community, so there's no infrastructure and all of that.
That is not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that over the years, before the coming of the present administration at the state and federal level, most of the communities where these things are happening were neglected. We didn't have either state or federal government presence in most of these communities. And I also alluded to the fact that most of these communities were largely inaccessible, such that even if bandits are operating in an area and security forces have been intimated, they find it difficult to access these places. But under the present administration of Governor Obasani, we have seen improved collaboration between the state and the federal government. This government procured over 150 Hiluxes and 500 motorcycles and donated to the federal security agencies. We have seen the government of Obasani constructing rural roads so that communities can become more accessible and response time by the security agencies can be shortened. We have seen the government collaborate with the federal government to build educational and tertiary health institutions in most of these zones where people are being attacked. And like I told you, lack of education or access to education, whether primary, secondary, or tertiary, and basic social amenities have contributed immensely, over the years to the increase in the incidences of insecurity in Kaduna State. So under the government of Senator Obasani, we are seeing these things being addressed. We are seeing collaboration with community leaders. We are seeing collaboration with federal security forces. We are seeing collaboration with the president to bring development to areas that were hitherto neglected.
Mr. Alta, and that's what I want us to examine now. This Kaduna peace model, which you say is built on collaboration. And indeed, in September, we saw Biriningwari hitherto a no-go area in Kaduna. We saw economic activities resume. But it seems as if that peace model was founded on a very delicate balance, because we've seen a resurgence of attacks in that community, in Kuyelo ward to be precise, where bandits attacked and killed about 7 persons. Amnesty International is reporting an increase in the number of deaths recorded in that particular attack. We've also seen 2 farmers killed in Yarwa area of Biriningwari as well. So it seems as if the peace that was enjoyed in the last couple of months is not particularly guaranteed if these things, are anything to go by, these events. My question is, what is the nature of this peace deal that you say is founded on collaboration with communities? Does it also include some form of agreement with the bandits? And if it does, doesn't it place a question mark on this unique non-kinetic approach that the administration under Obasani has deployed to ensuring peace in these areas?
Not at all. There is no question. There is nothing wrong with the approach, because like I mentioned earlier, we have a lot of success story. It will interest you to know that some of us were in the trenches, we were critics of this government, we were on the media, we were in the public space attacking this government. But today, we have seen that although we are not where we are yet, but a lot of progress is being made. And we felt that there is the need for us to balance our activism with our commitment to national security. And I will tell you, one other challenge that is facing the Sani peace model in Kaduna State is not the peace model itself, but the failure of neighboring states to adopt a similar approach. If your house is under fire and your neighbor's house is also under fire, if you are doing everything possible to put out the fire in your house and your neighbor is doing nothing to put up the fire, or is not doing as much as you are doing to put up the fire in his own house, you will continue to have problems. So we have also had cases of infiltration of bandits from neighboring states outside Kaduna into Kaduna to come in and, cause mayhem and then go back to those other areas because they are more or less like safe haven.
Pardon me,
them.
if I may come in there, Mr. Auta. You're attributing a resurgence of criminality in Birnin-Gwari or maybe in other parts to the failure of neighboring states to tackle insecurity in their own areas. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, it is part of it.
Okay.
It is part of it.
That's on the one hand. Please clarify, hold on, please clarify that this Kaduna peace model under Ubasani does not involve any agreement or deal with bandits.
It does not. The governor has made it abundantly clear that the Kaduna State government does not negotiate with bandits. What the government is doing, rather, is what I mentioned earlier, addressing the root causes of insecurity by ensuring that access to education at community level is enhanced, by ensuring that access to healthcare, access to social amenities, access to infrastructure, and equality in governance. These initiatives may not yield the desired results in the immediate.
So if it's
even though progress is being made.
Mr. Auta.
However, it takes time.
Mr. Auta, if it does not involve negotiation or agreements with bandits, why are we seeing a resurgence of attacks in Birnin-Gwari, to be precise?
Well, like the governor said at some point in the past, community leaders in Birnin-Gwari, religious leaders in Birnin-Gwari had come together to discuss peace and harmony, community living in that area. And the government provided support because whatever community initiative can be done in any part of Kaduna State, the government of Kaduna State is open to supporting it, provided it is going to enhance the peace and harmonious community living in that area. So, like I am telling you, you said in this program, 2 years ago, you dare not travel to Birnin-Gwari, you dare not open a market in Birnin-Gwari. Today, the reality is that businesses are thriving in that area, people are able to go to farm, and simply because we have
Mr. Outside, can you, okay, seem to be having that network issue. But we'll try and reconnect with you, but we'll begin to wind down. Mr. Outside, can you hear us? Oh dear. Well, we're discussing the security situation in northern Nigeria, but in focus is Kaduna State and what model is being used or otherwise to bring the peace that has been experienced, or what we consider relative peace considered happening in southern Kaduna, which was a hotspot for most of the sporadic attacks in the last administration. So Mr. Alta, who is a public affairs analyst, is bringing us up to speed as to what was and what was not done and what can be done differently. Let's try again whether we can get Mr. Alta. Mr. Alta, can you hear us? Oh dear. Okay. Mr. Edward Alta is a public affairs analyst who is throwing light into the conversation around issues of security in the north. One of the questions, guys, I wanted to find out from him, if there's a model working for Kaduna, why is it difficult to replicate that model across that region, especially in places like Katsina, in places like Zamfara, in other places that we have some of these incidents? Because if something is clearly happening, also that place was a hotspot, and suddenly we see a change by whatever means that was used to deploy for that change, I think it's necessary that we say, okay, I know environments differ, people differ, uniqueness of situations and all of that. Some is land grabbing, some is banditry, some is alleged genocide, so all kinds of things that is a mixed bag of many. Some is just pure criminality, as people have put it. So maybe it differs, but if the thread here is that the government is working to see that there's relative peace for his people. But I must try one more time to see. Mr. Edward House, are you there? Oh, okay. Public Affairs Analyst, Mr. Edward House, bringing us up to speed. We wanted to find out how that can be replicated beyond consolidated fund. 19 billion every month is what the northern governors want to be contributing. That scales to over 200 billion in a year to tackle the issue of insecurity. But we'll take a break, and when we come back, we'll bring you the next leg of the conversation. Stay with us.